Hi, welcome to Franchise Wisdom. Today I have a very special interview with a award-winning entrepreneur, restaurateur, franchise owner, should I say, multi-unit, multi-brand, multi-state, somebody that has owned 14 Jimmy John's, 12 Dunkin' Donuts, and several other brands. His name is Mike Knapick, and he is very exciting, high energy, and we can learn a lot from him. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Mr. Mike. Here you are. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. It is Friday. We finally made it to the end of the week.
Yes, yes. Well, that depends on your business. Friday is not the end of the week for you. That would be Sunday since you probably work every day, no? Being a restaurateur?
That is a correct statement. I will be in the stores tomorrow morning at probably about 6 in the morning. So
there you go. So, hey, today we have a great interview, as I mentioned in the intro. This is Mike Knapick, a award-winning entrepreneur and restaurateur that has had, all kinds of businesses and still very active today. In the past, 14 Jimmy John's, 12 Dunkin' Donuts, in exploring to other brands, have been Franchisee of the Year for both brands, one in 2008, one in 2018. So definitely
yes.
One of those top performing franchisees that I talk about all the time. So for those of you that are watching, pay attention because you're going to learn a lot in this interview. So very happy to be here. Mike, you want to say hello, say something, and so people get to know a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am delighted to be a part of this. I really enjoy sharing because just like I have the ability to do this today. There were other people that tapped me on the shoulder and were able to provide nuggets on my journey to get to where I am today and where I'm going in the future. So I love the opportunity to be able to pass or pay it forward for the things that were handed to me by all the people that stepped into my life. So.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly how I talk about it a lot of times too. When you have a long career, successful, you've been, blessed and had so much happen to you. There comes a point in your life in which you just want to give back. You want to be able to then pay it forward, as you say, so that other people can benefit from all the things that you benefited in your life. So having said that, let's start by talking about you before franchising. Where were you before franchising? And, and what was your life like? And how do you decide to get into franchising?
So we will start from the beginning. In the beginning, I'm born and raised city Chicago, in the streets of Chicago. I mean, this is not a suburban situation. This is an inner city, neighborhood, environment, and that's where a lot of kind of like my foundation was really formed. I struggled academically. Just the schooling did not. I was academically challenged. Even if I did try, and there were classes where I happened to take a look at my, I found my high school report card, and it's a 4-year thing, and it has 8 pages, which means two halves of the year for each year, and I did get 1 B. The rest of them were more D's and C's and a couple F's.
Wow, all right.
But they did get a B, and that happened to be U.S. history, and it was a class that I absolutely loved, and I really leaned into it, but still I couldn't get a B. I mean, I barely could get a B. So I mean, just academically, things didn't go my way. I was very active in sports. I played 4 sports in high school, and where I learned really so many of the foundational things that helped me today as a leader, as a business partner, as a father, as a friend, as a student, came from my coaches. My coaches really touched me and taught me lessons that I didn't understand. When my water polo coach is doing things with me, at the time I didn't get what he was doing, and I thought he was out there to get me. And but I look back and I was like, wow, what he was teaching me, I'm applying today in my business life. So that really was the foundation for me to kind of be successful, because it gave a person who struggled academically, I recognized that my path was not going to be along the academic route. And I then needed to, find the route that was going to be best for me. So many times people will talk about, if you're really good at stuff and you're really poor at stuff, man, you got to work on those things that you're not so good at. It's like, no, it's like, if I'm not going to be good at them, I can invest a lot of time and I can only maybe move the meter from a 3 to a 4 or a 5. But man, if I'm a 6 in the spot, man, the difference between a 6 or an 8 or a 9, I'm now getting to excellence. So I found that my skills were verbal and visual, that my ability to interact with people, to inspire people. So that's kind of the route that I took. And athletics kind of helped me do that, because it gave you the ability to become a leader, not based on a piece of paper that said, this is where you went to school and this is your GPA and this is how smart you are. It was based on your ability to deliver on the field. And then you could have people around you look up to you because of that. So I invested all my effort into that area, which then allowed me, when I did graduate from college, and I did graduate from college, I made it. I crossed the finish line.
But you actually did get to that point. Because I was going to say, I mean, there's a lot of very successful people in this world that have a high school degree, and one of the things that I share is that I didn't even get my bachelor's degree until I was already a director of operations, overseeing 40 million, organization, making six-figure income. So, and I only got it because I was in the corporate world, thinking that's the only way that I can keep going in the corporate world.
Right.
And I learned a lot of really interesting theory as I was going through my college degree. Right. But yeah, so go ahead, continue.
So, so then graduating from college, I was able to take those things that I was taught by my coaches and apply them. And I had really great success right out of college in my first job, a company called Dun & Bradstreet, Fortune 500 company. I crushed it. Everything they asked me to do, I destroyed it. Whatever team I was on, I always found myself at the lead of it with regards to whatever the statistical measurements that they have. But what was great about it is it was based on effort and energy and enthusiasm and driving toward the goal rather than how smart you were. And that's why I was able to achieve there. But I also found that corporate world was stiff and cumbersome, and your success really was not going to be determined based on what you often did. It was based on the success of the business itself. Meaning, like, you could be an absolute rock star, crushing it and hitting all the numbers, but all of a sudden you find out that your division got sold to some company in the Netherlands, or they bought out another company and they consolidate positions. The next thing you know, you're just a victim. And that felt very uncomfortable to me. And I decided then to, after 3 years, to jump into the insurance world. And it was like a sales position. But what it gave me the ability to do is my success was going to be defined based on what I did. And it wasn't going to be controlled by other people. I could control where, when, how fast. And that's where I really got the entrepreneurial kind of thing going, because I recognized that if I was going to fail, I was going to fail because of my actions and not based on anybody else's. If I was going to win, I was going to win based on my actions, not based on anybody else's influence. And I did very well in the insurance world. I over a matter of 14 years, I went from being an agent to, at the end of that time, I had 150 agents in 3 states and 8 offices all working for me. I was a state general agent, doing very well. But I got burnt out, and Groundhog Day kind of stepped in. Because with the sales world and the insurance world, or any kind of measurable sales position, as soon as that period is over, you start from zero. And it was just, every week you started from zero. You turned in all your wins from that week, and everybody stood in the same spot the next week. And that got kind of tiresome. And it became Groundhog Day. And then my little brother came to me in 2003. I had a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. And obviously I was very successful at that time. And he said, there's a failing Jimmy John's sandwich shop in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Let's go open it and let's go buy it. And I realized at that point in my life that I could make a risky jump, expose my family to utter failure and have them lose everything. But because the kids were 4 and 6 years old, I had the ability to recover if it went south. So, I mean, if I put 2 or 3 years into it, and completely crashed and burned, my 6-year-old is 9 years old. I could jump back into the corporate world. I could fall and find a nice little safety net in that, regular job working for somebody else because I had a resume at that point. So we took the leap.
Sorry. So at this point, you made that decision because it was a risk, but because they were young enough, they would not really realize or affect them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when you're 6 years old or 9 years old, I mean, we were dirt freaking white trash poor in Chicago. I mean, but we didn't know the difference.
You're right. At that age, you don't know. You have a baseball bat and you hit a ball that is crappy, but you're out there having fun anyways, right?
It didn't matter. It was all about friends and family and school. And it just, if you got one gift for Christmas, you got one gift for Christmas. And if it was a stick, it was a stick. You were happy to get a gift.
Right.
You didn't know that kids in the suburbs had, 15 gifts, that Santa brought. So, I realized that, it wasn't going to affect my family. My wife is very opposite to me, which is very, for me to be able to earn the opportunity to take that jump. If you climb up a tree, I'm the guy that goes as far out on this little tiniest limb to grab that piece of fruit and felt very comfortable crashing to the ground. My wife would be the woman at the bottom of the tree holding on to it as tight as she can, going, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
But she believed in me.
I see how there would be a balance though, right? I think that would be a great balance to have because then, well, yeah,
But she believed in me and she trusted, which was not very comfortable for her to do. And we went on that journey and we took the leap.
That's fantastic. That's very, and I guess you were an entrepreneur from very early on. The moment that you go into that insurance thing, you already were having the need to be independent, which is, what entrepreneur is, right? To own your own future for sure. So you chose that particular.
Most people want that same thing. They just don't have the chutzpah. You know what chutzpah means?
No, what does it mean?
Cojones.
Ah.
Okay, in Hebrew, chutzpah is you got some,
All right. Okay.
And it's so 90% of the people out there want the same thing that I wanted. It's just, do you have the chutzpah,
the courage, right?
Courage to take the leap and be comfortable with losing. And I felt very comfortable with losing because I knew I wasn't going to win if I didn't expose myself to possibly losing. Most people are like, hey, you know what? I'd rather take and keep this crappy job and ride out this thing because it's safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make that person a bad person. It's just the people who achieve those victories allowed themselves to be put in a position that they could have gotten and lost everything along the way. Mm-hmm. I never felt uncomfortable with that feeling.
Your wife did for you.
She sure did, yes.
Got it. So you saw, or your brother saw an opportunity in those Jimmy John's, right? And I mean, that's a great brand. I mean, I know that they went from 0 to 100, like that. I remember seeing all the ads about, freaky fast, freaky good. And, all those, you hear about it and, coming from a Dominos background, those are words really like resonated with me. Like, wow, it's a company that actually understands the importance of speed. So this is a failing organization that, first of all, why do you think that was failing, right? Because, and then, what happened when you took over?
Well, it's really going to relate to the one question that you asked here. And, what is the attribute, what do you attribute your success in franchising to? So I'm going to kind of lay that out. Mm-hmm. What that franchisor didn't do was he didn't follow the system. He didn't. When you're purchasing a franchise,
you mean the franchisee did, because you said franchisor, but you said the franchisee.
He was the franchisee. What he didn't do is he didn't follow the formula. When you open up your own business, if you're not doing a franchise, you're really in a position where you don't have any support. When things go wrong, if marketing doesn't happen, if your food truck doesn't show up, if something happens within your business, you don't have the ability to pick up the phone and ask for someone. In the franchising world, you are purchasing a system, a process. And what he didn't do is he didn't follow the process. And because he didn't follow the process, he failed. Most of the franchisees that I've interacted with that are successful bought into it, drank the Kool-Aid, did exactly what they were told to do. Because what the franchise has done is they have failed. they have experimented. They played all the games and they found that this does work and this doesn't work. Trust me, if it worked better, they would be showing it to you and they would be giving it to you because their success is tied into your success. So he didn't do that. And we recognize that early on, that if we follow the system and don't have an original thought, just put effort and energy and enthusiasm and do exactly what they tell us to do, we were going to have success. So we bought that store. That store was doing $6,000 a week in weekly revenue. And that, forget what the number that $6,000 meant in 2003. But 4 years later, in 2007, we did $28,000 a week.
Wow.
Okay, we're in the same community. We have the same employees. When I say the same employees, the same type of an employee.
Right, the same employee pool. The same employee
pool. We have the same customer base.
Mm-hmm.
But why am I doing 4 times the volume that he was doing? Is because we followed the system. Mm-hmm. We put our 2 customers first. So in any business, you have 2 customers. The first customer, by far the most important customer that you have, is the employee that works for you. Mm-hmm. In exchange for a wage, in exchange for money, they are giving you a service or a product back. That's no different from me walking into Best Buy. In exchange for money, they're giving me a product or a service back. I treated that customer. We changed the culture of the customer in the employee in our organization, and we got rid of all the people that didn't want to play a part of our team, and we brought the people in, and we spent all of our time working on that customer. Mm. If we worked on that customer properly, the other customer that was walking in the door handing us money in exchange for a product was going to be taken care of, because when I took care of my employee, that employee would take care of that customer. And what we did is we earned the trust of that other customer walking into the door, that we could execute at the level that they were expecting. When they walk in, they want a freaky fast experience. When they're calling for a delivery, and forget, I could be selling widgets. It doesn't matter the product that we're talking about.
Right.
It's, if you deliver a fantastic, people will overpay in some cases for lesser quality product if they get great customer service. Think of Ruth Chris. Mm-hmm. Why the hell do I want to go to Ruth Chris and spend $70 on a filet on some 500-degree plate? It's a freaking filet. Not to take anything away from them, but I can walk into Outback. I can get a filet that's going to taste just as freaking fantastic as the one I get in Ruth Chris. And they're going to charge me $20, and I'm going to spend $70 over at Ruth Chris. When you go to Ruth Chris, they kiss your butt. They service you to the level that, you put your fork down, and if your fork is dirty, they are putting down a new fork. If your napkin falls to the ground, they're grabbing that and they're dropping another one in your lap. You
actually feel special. Like you actually feel like you are the most important person in that room. Yeah.
And that's what we did with our employees. We made them feel valued. We made them feel like they were part of the team. We gave them the opportunity to grow within our organization, and then in exchange for that, they give a great experience to the and then that allowed us to grow our organization from that one store.
Wow.
So why did that guy fail? He didn't follow the system.
Yeah. One of the things that we teach, in the academy is that when you acquire a franchise, you are acquiring a proven brand, right? You're acquiring the product, the service, the image, the national, regional marketing of the business. That's what you are acquiring. Is proven. You don't have to come up with it. That's what you're supposed to be following in those systems. You're not acquiring a franchise management degree on how to hire the people and motivate them and inspire them to do the right things, how to really look at your costs and your business, and how to search for potential manipulation, how to read a profit and loss statement, or even how to conquer your neighborhood, right? Because the brand is not going to come to your neighborhood and going to go like, hi, you need to come buy some sandwiches from this guy here, right? They're not going to do that. That's going to be up to you. So you obviously grab that brand, right? But then you have all these other systems, like in understanding the 2 customers, right? And the importance of the internal customer, your client, your employee. Like, did you just knew that innately because you're a human being, or did you read it somewhere? Like, how do you understood how important that was?
So let's go back to the coaches, okay? Mm-hmm. My coaches were the ones that taught me those lessons. Our coaches didn't focus on how to dribble, how to throw a ball, how to field a ball, how to swing a golf club. They worked on us and focused on building us and our confidence and our belief in ourselves, so that when we stepped on the court, that's so much more powerful than actually knowing how to dribble. Winning, you don't have to have the most talented athletes out on the court to win. There are teams that win with substandard talent, but they win because they're coached properly and they're led properly. So when I saw my coaches look at me as a freshman and a sophomore in high school, or as a freshman and sophomore in college, when I played sports in college, they did not focus on my talent. They focused on me as an athlete. And how do we make Mike Knapick better as an athlete? So when I step on the field, I'm able to deliver at a higher level, even though my skills might not be able to do that. I then applied that to when I was on building the organizations that I built. I focused on not the blocking and tackling of this. I didn't focus on how to make a fast sandwich or how to deliver fast. I took that individual that came to work for us and I helped them grow as an individual, so that when they left our organization, they left at a higher level than when they came in. So we always worked hard on making sure that the people that left the organization, now some of them didn't always leave in a positive way. Some of them left because we asked them to leave nicely. It's time to go.
And there are times that you absolutely have to do that. Yep.
But
and it is because of their doing, not because it's a choice. Is their doing.
Correct. But they left having more skills than when they came. So, what I wanted my people to have the ability to do is when they left us and they got a job working for somebody else, they were able to have that job, and the boss called them, "Oh my gosh, where did you learn that?" "Well, I learned that at Jimmy John's." They're like, "They don't teach that. You guys make sandwiches." Like, no, they actually taught us that. So we taught leadership. We used John Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. We taught that every help them grow as individuals. In fact, most of my partners today started out as delivery drivers with us at Jimmy John's, who came in at $10. What we did is we focused on growing them as people and then giving them the opportunity to succeed. And that's how we were able to grow. We constantly grew, not because we necessarily wanted to. We grew because we had people that we had developed to the point that if we didn't open up another location, we were going to lose them. Mm. That's a great position to have, because you also reduce turnover. And turnover costs so much to an organization, especially in the retail world that we lived in. You could literally turn your whole organization over every single year, the whole 100% of all your employees. Well, we had a turnover rate of only 40%, which was unheard of in our industry. And it was because we valued the coming in the door. And that's why we became Franchisee of the Year for Jimmy John's, Franchisee of the Year for Barley. We were always recognized as a top operator, not because we also didn't have necessarily the highest sales volume, but we ran the best organization that those places had.
That, 40% turnover in a retail sandwich, franchise is
quick service restaurant. Yeah.
Absolutely very low. And this is where, we say that the industry, the food service, in the franchise world, you have different industries. Within the food service industry, the average turnover, I'm sure is 150%, 140, 150%. So if you are able to do the culture, the systems, the process, the environment in which you can get to close to 100%, that you are doing fantastic. But 40%, that is the life of legends, as we see in the franchise world, for sure. That's fantastic. I definitely commend you for that, because clearly it goes beyond having a proper salary strategy. This is really about culture and living it every single day, right? For sure.
It is a culture. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we lived it every single day.
Wow, I love that. So wow, that's amazing. So tell me, so how big did you get? Like, you started, how many did you acquire first? And
so we bought the first Jimmy John's in 2003. Later that year, we built one on Notre Dame's campus in South Bend. Fast forward to 2018, we had turned that one Jimmy John's into 14 Jimmy John's, 11 Dunkin' Donuts, and 3 Bar Louie's. We were doing about $30 million in revenue with about 800 employees. We sold our 14 Jimmy John's then in 2018. And that 4-year-old is now my partner down in Miami. He is my partner with Window Genie, which is a residential window cleaning business, and Pedal Pub, which is kind of like a party bike concept. He does that down in Miami with me. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, we do Smash My Trash, which is a business-to-business franchise. And then in Columbus, Ohio, we do Core Life, which is like a healthy food, quick service restaurant. But again,
you are today a multi-unit, multi-brand, and multi-state franchisee, huh?
Floor franchisees. I represent 440 franchises that I help people choose and kind of follow the path of what's the right franchise for them that meets what their kind of criteria is.
As if you have a lot of time left then, I guess.
Well, I did take a day off. I think it was in 2008. It was like a Tuesday afternoon from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. So I did stop for a little while.
Got it.
But I'm still, every morning I'm in my Dunkin's at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock. So I still visit the stores.
So tell me, what has been the most surprising thing, right? Now you can look back at these years that you've been in the franchise world, the things what was been the most surprising thing that you did not realize that you were going to encounter, in this journey?
I have no idea. That's one thing.
All of it, nothing?
No, I knew I was going to be here. I really knew I was going to be here. I remember getting an advertisement in the mail when I was 18 years old. It was from Ed McMahon with the sweepstakes, Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes, and it said, "Mike Knapick, you are a millionaire." And I was 18 years old, and I ran to my dad. I'm like, "Dad, take a look at this." He goes, No. You got some magazines, and they're going to pick one out of 10 million people to get that. I'm like, "No, Dad, you don't understand." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." But I took that piece of paper and I saved it, and I kind of put it in my car. And then every day I would look at it, and it would say, "Mike Knapick, you're a millionaire." And so I knew I was going to be here, and what surprised me is, why did it take so long? I know that sounds kind of weird, but that always was very assumptive to me, that if you didn't believe in your dream, if it was just a dream, and then you didn't do the things that you needed to do to fulfill it, then it was just a dream. So this is not a dream for me. This is reality. That's why it's like it felt very comfortable for me to make that leap where I put my family at risk, because it's like, well, if I don't put my family at risk, then I'm not going to get to where I was supposed to get. So this is what I have to do. And again, I know that doesn't sound very comfortable for most people to be able to do, but there's then a lot of people that regret not taking that leap because of fear. It froze them. Or what if it doesn't work out? Well, maybe it won't work out, but you'll never know. So, I guess maybe the surprise is, why didn't it happen sooner?
Why didn't it happen sooner? Yeah. All right, so let's go to the other side. The other question, which will be, is, of all the things that have happened that you have gone through in this journey, what has been maybe the most challenging to overcome?
The frustrating things is when you, and this is not as been difficult for me because I've been doing it for so long, but it's frustrating when you see potential in an individual, and you pour into them all of the tools and resources, and very few people actually grab onto and apply it. I've had 5 to 10 successes in my life, people who grabbed it and embraced it, and they're phenomenally successful today. But I've probably had 10,000 people that have had the same opportunities placed in front of them, the same resources. Most people, the most negative people that folks have in their life tend to be friends and family. You can't do that. Our people don't have that happen to us. You're not smart enough. You can't risk your family like that. So oftentimes, the battle that I have with helping people see things that they might not ever have thought they could see is getting out of their way, the negatives in their life that prevent them from doing that. And that's where, you watch people who could have really been something special and never achieved that. There was a point in time I had early in my career, Roger Smith, who never got a high school graduation, became a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. He was my first real business mentor. And he's still my friend. He's my mentor today. And I, as a sales manager, for the first time as a real sales manager, I was having zero success with any of the folks that I had underneath me. I was just pouring my shit into them, and it was just not coming back. And it was just very frustrating. And I came to my boss, Roger, and I said, you know what, I'm going to stop. I cannot continue giving the way I'm giving and not getting anything back. And he goes, Mike, you can't do that, because then you're not going to be true to yourself. And you're not going to find that one person that's going to achieve. He goes, you're going to have to go through a lot of people to get to the people that really, grab onto it. So that was a great lesson for me, but still it is frustrating watching people who are right at the cusp of stepping over a line that is life-changing to them, and they just don't have the chutzpah to step across the line, because in the back of their head, their family's telling them, no, man, you can't do that. Or continue giving, and you will get the rewards coming back. But it is frustrating not having everybody fulfill what their destiny could have fulfilled if they just got out of their own way.
Yeah. I guess being able to be in the franchise world, you had access to a lot of more people. So you couldn't make a difference in all of them, but you were able to make a difference in a lot more than if you were in the corporate world with the same 5-6 people, right?
Absolutely. It is much more fulfilling being in business for yourself, because you do have the ability to touch more folks. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. All right. So we have, a lot of people that are going to be watching this recording in our different media. A lot of them are going to be newer, emerging franchisees that are striving and hoping to become, go from the one unit job into a multi-unit enterprise. And some of them are still hesitant. I'm not really sure, right, about how to make that happen. What kind of message or, tips or best practices will you share with them specifically that might help them, get the encouragement and the courage, or the, what do you call it, gumption? Chutzpah. There you go. To make the jump and decide and choose for the, them, and their dream, so that they can, get there with more likely success. We're not going to guarantee success, but you're more likely to succeed if, what kind of things would you share with them?
Okay. So today we had a leadership meeting with a couple of our organizations. And today we use the law of empowerment.
Ooh, I like
And that's John Maxwell's 12th law. And the law of empowerment is the people's capacity to achieve is determined by their leaders' willingness and ability to empower. We recognize that in our organization, that we had to allow our people to have wins and losses, to have success and failures, and allow them to make decisions where they felt that they didn't have to have their boss come down on them. So many times people are afraid to make decisions in the workplace because, man, if I screw up, my boss is going to be all over me. Well, I'd rather have my employees make those calls and it be the wrong call, and then we learn from it rather than never make the call when they could have made a good call. So we really focused, again, going back, our people growing within our organization to allow us, so that when we wanted to open up that next store, we had the person to fill that spot. And that meant us getting out of the way and providing more of a support role to our organization, rather than where we did all the work. We ordered all, I'll just use some of the stuff. We ordered all the truck. We handled the schedule. We ran the shifts. When you do that, you don't give the ability for people to step into a leadership role. So I never did anything by myself. I always had somebody sitting next to me doing if I was doing the schedule, I'd grab a in-shopper who has never had any desire to be in management or leadership in any capacity. So, hey, let's do the schedule together next week. I don't know. It's like, hey, we're going to do this together. And then all of a sudden you see that person go, hey, can we do that again? And next thing you know, you find a person that you never even thought might have been your next general manager. And all of a sudden your general manager just happened to be a minimum wage person working 10 hours a week for you. And all of a sudden they grab onto that. So, the ability to go from 1 to 3 to 10 stores was based on our ability to develop the people within our organization, have them also feel comfortable that they needed to empower their people, because so many people, they're so afraid of failure that they want to control and empower the people around you. You end up being stifled because everybody's waiting for the leader to make a decision, as compared to you should have the lowest level person in your organization be able to make a decision at any given point. Because sometimes they're going to have a customer that's going to call and they're going to have to answer the phone. They're going to have to make a decision. And if they're so afraid to make a decision, or they've not been taught that they can make a decision, they're oftentimes going to lose that customer because they didn't make the decision at that time. We worked really hard on empowering. Empowering. And empowering is the people's capacity to achieve is determined by their leaders who push down people. Leaders push their people down, but it takes you down with them. Leaders who lift them up also rise. When you raise the level of the people around you, it also raises you. It goes back to the law of the lid, which is the first law of John Maxwell, the law of the lid. So,
I have the book in leatherbound.
Well, I can't read, hence my academics, so I watch videos.
Yeah, I have a lot of it. I do love reading. Yes, definitely. Wow, that's fabulous. I love that. One of the things that the reason why we even, founded this academy, my career has been mostly on the franchise corporate side, running company units. I did, step away and ran some franchise organizations even outside of the country, and I decided to leave that operation, hands-on management, and build this academy, because like we said, when you buy a franchise, you're buying the brand, a proven brand that somebody spent years, decades, probably developing a brand that you can duplicate, and they provide all the tools and resources so that you can, whenever a customer comes in, it's like going into whether you're in New York, Texas, Brazil, it's going to look the same, right? And so one of the secrets of being a successful franchisee is to duplicate the systems of the brand systems, as we call them, that the franchisor provides. Now, many, obviously, they don't give you a business degree. And so those are the principles, the other piece of the puzzle that you need to have. And, when you look at the hierarchy of Maslow, right, in the bottom, you're starting to, you need the certain basic needs. You have the basic needs of a brand in a business, and you have and then the next point is, how do you make money out of that brand? And so that's a lot of what the academy focuses on. What you talk about, I think, is the next level of achievement, in a business, right? You need to have the brand, then you need to have the business systems, and then you need to have that inspiration, that culture, that, that's the next level that will get you to the pinnacle of your organization. Did you get a chance? I mean, what do you think about that and the things, that type of service and education that the academy provides? Do you think that would be, I don't know, part of the secret ladder of that?
Absolutely. It really, and I'm not taking anything away from your organization. I'm just saying it doesn't matter where you get knowledge, as long as you're seeking it. Every single day, I'm listening to, Simon Sinek. I'm spending 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour a day. I'm just using Simon as an example. It could be John Maxwell, it could be Tony Robbins, it could be anybody. It could be listening to Michael Jordan talk. You could be listening to Joe Montana talk. You could be listening to, a winner, and just learning from them. And so whether it's your organization, if the people are using you as a tool, as long as they're on a regular basis paying attention to it, they're going to use that sometime that day or that week. Eventually, there's a reason Coca-Cola advertises every single freaking day. There's a reason, Michael Jordan practiced every single day. There's a reason that we, as business owners, need to be practicing on how to become better business leaders every single day. And if your tools at your academy is one of them, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It doesn't matter really what the words they're using, because we're all saying the same things. We're all talking. Every business, inspirational person that talks, they talk about culture. They talk about growing your people. It's no different what I'm talking about. It's just they use different words. They use different techniques to get to the same spot.
Right.
It's winning. It's winning with your team. So I'm sure
So
the
we
research.
call this the seventh. We have 7 elements of success for a franchise, and the seventh one is continuing learning
Yeah,
from wherever you can get it.
it
Yep.
doesn't matter where you get it from. If you
Yep.
spend 15 minutes a day, that's all you need to do is just 15 minutes a day. At the end of the year, you add that up. You've now spent, 5 days worth of time, 20, the whole time of that of bettering yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The failures that, there was someone asked me a question that I was speaking at Notre Dame one time, and a kid asked me at the end of a questions series, what are you afraid of? And the thing that I'm afraid is I'm afraid of that one evening where I can go to bed and I'm not excited about going to work and learning the next day. I cannot wait to learn the next day. I cannot wait to go to work the next day. And when you have that attitude and you bring that into your organization, people are attracted to that. That doesn't mean that they're going to follow the same thing, but they're attracted to people are attracted to winners. And if you act and look and talk and work like a winner, even though you don't have to be a winner, but if you act like it, people are going to be attracted to you, and they're going to want to be on your team because they know eventually you're going to have a win, and they want to be on your team when that win happens.
Yeah, because it's inevitable. It's inevitable. If
it
that's
is
who you are,
inevitable.
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Great. Wow, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Mike. I mean, what are your last thoughts? Before we finish this conversation, what are your last thoughts for those people that are going to be listening and watching this? That you would like to, leave that legacy and give them that little last, tip of best practice for them to be able to achieve the things that you have been able to achieve.
Just every day focusing on making the people around you better. I work every single day on helping my wife become a better person. I work every single day on making my daughter and my son better sons and daughters. I work with my friends on being the best friend that I can be for them. I work on every single day being the best employer that I can be. In exchange for that, I get back more than I give. But you have to be very comfortable in giving and feel comfortable that sometimes you're not going to get back. And that's okay. But the people that do give you back are going to give you back the rewards that, money doesn't buy. It doesn't, you then have a fantastic relationship with your spouse and your kids and your coworkers and your peers and your buddies and your friends, and they know that it can depend on you. And you also, there was one thing, John Maxwell talks about this. I know I keep going back to him. It's the change in your pocket. How much change do you have in your pocket? And you earn change by doing things for other people. So when you do things for other people, they give you change that you get to put in your pocket. And the more change that you have in your pocket, the more you can spend it later on. When you need something back from them, you can get it back by them because you've gotten that change in your pocket. You've earned that ability. When you don't have any change in your pocket, when you haven't given, people aren't going to give back to you. So, that's where when you get into tough times, the organizations that really survive are the ones where their team will follow you into the toughest battles because they know that other times you sacrificed for them and you gave to them. It doesn't have to be a financial gift. It could be just time. It could be just making them feel like they're important and that they're special in your life. And when you do that, when you need them, they will be standing right behind you, and they will fight to the death. And that's what great leaders, in war, the leaders that really achieve where they have people that will follow them into the worst situation, but they'll do it because you took care of them before. And that's where the Washingtons, came from, and the great, generals of battle come from, because they know that you're the first in line to stand out in front of that bullet. You'll take a bullet for your people, so then they'll take a bullet for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that. I love that. That's what I call the discretionary effort that the employees will give you, right? You pay them a salary for X amount of effort of work in return. But when you create that environment when you are that person for them, that's when they give you that additional discretionary effort that they only give those that deserve it, because you have earned it from the
and
top.
you don't even have to ask for it. They'll volunteer it.
Right.
They'll say, hey, you know what? I know times are tough. You know what? I'll work a little off the clock. I know that's against the law, but they'll do that. Or, you know what? Hey, what can I do to help this organization?
Can I cover another shift? Or you want me to be here tomorrow, even though I closed today? I will be here. I'll open tomorrow. Right.
I'll work a double for you. You
right.
Tell me what you need to do, because you earn that change in your pocket.
Right.
So.
Well, Mike, this has been amazing. Thank you very much for this. These are golden nuggets of knowledge and experience from somebody that has done it, is doing it, and will continue to do it for, I'm sure, a long time. I don't see you slowing down anytime soon. For sure. Thank you very much. And hey, we should be continue talking. Maybe I can have you back and see where you are in the future.
Well, you and I have talked about that, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
No problem. Take care.
Wow, what a great interview with Mike. I mean, we definitely have gotten a lot of golden nuggets out of that conversation. I'm sure that if you were to grab that information and implement in your business, you can definitely scale your business and explode into the future. I mean, and I have to say that one of the great things that I've seen in common in the top performing franchisees are those that really truly understand the importance of their internal customers, their employees. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified when they come up. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.